keen interest in children education. So he has done many courses for children for their value education. Not only that, we all got connected to Prabhu through his lectures. I remember beginning of my Krishna consciousness, we used to distribute Prabhu's Bhagavad Gita series for the beginners, the 6 lectures and the 7th one, I think, application. So it was very famous. We used to copy probably thousands of CDs and we used to distribute, and then we started distributing the USBs after a few years. So it has immensely helped a lot of devotees, including me. So thank you very much for that. So now we have Prabhuji here in person. So that is our good fortune. As I taught earlier, Prabhu did his masters in hearing and speech, therapy and things like that. Now we can see that Prabhu is doing the same thing, Shravanam and Kirtanam, and engaging us in Shravanam and Kirtanam, isn't it? That is hearing and speech. So it's all about Krishna. So it's our great fortune to have Prabhuji here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. And we have our Damodar Prabhu here. Damodar Prabhu is also a very multifaceted personality. Prabhu did his bachelor's and master's from IIT in mechanical engineering. So he's an alumni from IIT, one of the most prestigious technical institutes in India. And after that he also joined the Chaupati temple in Mumbai. He has served in many capacities. On one level, he is in charge of the kitchen. So it's a big kitchen, and they conduct mega yatras, 6,000, 10,000 devotees going or yatra for different places during Kartik, and Prabhu is the cooking in charge. So we can understand that is one side of Prabhuji. Apart from that, Prabhu takes care of the devotee care program. So he has helped with the devotee care internationally, and that's where they're traveling. Also, Prabhu is a Shastrik teacher in Wada in the Bhaktivedanta Institute, Vidyapith. Prabhu teaches Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Also in Mayapur Institute, he's a teacher. So Prabhu has many sides to him. So both of them are traveling this part of the world, Australia and New Zealand, and helping temples to implement devotee care program. So we are very fortunate to have both of them here, and thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Gopinath Prabhu. We are traveling to teach devotee care, but we are experiencing a lot of care ourselves in the community of the devotees here, Melbourne Mahaprabhu's Mandir, devotee community. So my heartfelt gratitude to all the devotees, especially the organizers today, Gopinath Prabhu, Manmohan Prabhu, and the team of devotees. Whenever we travel together, I give the introduction to the topic, speak briefly, and then Radha Gopinath Prabhu builds upon it to the final conclusion. That's our pattern. We'll chant the invocation prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shannivadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Taditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Outside it was quite cold. As soon as I came in, it's good warmth here. Right? So one of my small realization is this world is like a cold place, but in the association of devotee there is warmth. You can feel the love, affection, care as compared to the warmth. So thank you all for coming this evening. It is our great pleasure and honor to be here amongst you all and to be able to share something. I would like to today evening talk about dealing with the life challenges. How Bhagavatam teaches us. How do we deal with life challenges? We have many good advice, many good speakers about this. There would be many things said about it. But let's see what Bhagavatam says and how does Bhagavatam portrays. There are many characters in Srimad Bhagavatam. How have they dealt with life challenges? All of us face some challenge or other, some difficulty, some adversity in life. How can we better equip ourselves? So I'll speak about it. We learn to deal with every situation or every challenge at 3 levels. We all have been doing it, maybe we all have been doing it also, but then when we hear about it in the right perspective, it will give us clarity. One is, whatever challenge may come in life, whatever difficulty may come in life, we deal with at the very first level, that is the immediate level. The external level. If I have got a infection, the viral is spreading here in Melbourne, there was rains here, change of weather, and then I have to deal with it. I have to find out what could have caused this difficulty, what is the cause, and diagnose it and take necessary steps to deal with it. Do the medication, do some preventive measures to avoid it, some curative measures, some preventive measures we all take. Something happens and we have to deal with it externally by going to doctor, taking medicine, proper diet, and so on and so forth. And Prabhupada would say, do the needful. Any difficulty, any challenge, do the needful. Deal with it. You have to do it. So that's known to all of us. We are acquainted with it, we are familiar with it. Bhagavatam gives us a next higher level to deal with it, which equips us with the positive or the right frame of mind, or I would say which removes the negativity. Because often when we are dealing with a challenge, we identify some others as the cause of our difficulty. Somebody, maybe in the workplace, somebody is plotting against us, we're doing some business, someone may sue us and we may lose a lot of money. Somewhere or the other, our condition, something happens to us and we tend to, in the immediate sense, we tend to blame others for our problem. They are friends, colleagues, neighbors, whoever. I'm in difficulty and I tend to blame others. I try to see fault in others. And that's quite natural. But Bhagavatam says, whatever happens to us, we are also responsible. Even if you're just going on the road, when you're just walking on the road, and you're walking on the right footpath, and someone comes and hits you from behind. Somehow, person is just learning driving or the vehicle goes out of control, whatever reason. Someone hits you from behind. Obviously, there is no fault on your side. Very obvious. No fault on your side. Anyway, I was in UAE and it said that whenever there is an accident, anyone who hits from behind whether the person in the front stopped suddenly, whatever happened, may anyone who hits from behind, that person is called the culprit by default. That's the rule. Anyway, leaving that example aside, so someone comes and hits us from behind, and we suffer some injury or the vehicle is damaged, whatever. There is no fault obviously from our side, either whether I am walking or driving correctly. There is no fault on my side. But Bhagavatam says, because it has happened to us, we are also responsible. How are we responsible? Because there is a law of karma operating. That's called a remote cause, which we cannot see. Something which is remote. So the immediate cause, yes, the total fault goes to the person who just comes and hits us from behind. And in the immediate sense, there is no fault of mine. And probably that the CCTV cameras may capture, the police may agree to that, the jury also may agree, whatever. And that person may be penalized, we may be given compensation, fine. But still, if we have suffered injury, we are, or whatever may happen, is suffering still. Even though compensation may be given, but still we suffered. Whatever suffering we have undergone, we are also responsible for that. Otherwise, it would not happen to me. Why did that person hit me on the road? There were others walking. Bhagavatam tells a nice story of Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva wants to, this King Uttanapa, he is sitting on the royal throne, and Dhruva's stepbrother Uttama, he is sitting on the father's lap, one of the lap. So the father is sitting on one side, his stepbrother is sitting. So Dhruva also wants to climb on the father's lap and sit on the other side. But the stepmother Suruchi said, no, you can't sit on your father's lap because you're not born from me. So she forbids. She forbade Dhruva. And the father did not do anything because the father was attached to Suruchi. There were two kings. Uttanapad had two queens, Suruchi and Suniti. So Suruchi was the favorite. Her son Uttama was being favored by the king. And Dhruva, when forbidden by Suruchi, the favorite queen, he saw towards the father, and the father did not do anything. He understood, and he was hurted. Basically, he felt very hurt at the heart. So, and he also felt very angry within, and being mistreated by his stepmother, and also the father also did not do anything about it. So, in a way, the father also was the cause of his mistreatment. So with great anger, with great agony of the heart, he immediately left and went to his mother, Suniti. And Suniti saw her child is aggrieved. So her heart pained even more than Dhruva, because that's the nature of the love. When the child is suffering, mother's heart pains more than the child. So because being mother, her heart was agonized more than Dhruva. But then she says something very, very insightful, very impressive, very difficult for any mother to speak such words. Therefore, her words appear in Srimad Bhagavatam, the eternal scripture of great wisdom. What does she say? Ma mangalam tat pareshu mamsta bhunte jano yat paradukhadastat. My dear son, ma mangalam tat. Tat is my dear son, my darling son. Do not think bad about your stepmother Suruchi. Can you imagine? These are her first words to console her son. She would have said, she is by nature envious. Like those would have been the normal words. And your father is also, too attached to, you both are too cruel, therefore they have given you suffering. I will do something about it. I'll go and fight or whatever, So she should have spoken normally like that, a normal person would speak. But she says to Dhruva, do not think bad about your stepmother. Ma mangalam, amangalam is bad. Do not think bad about your stepmother. Why? Bhungte jano yat par dukkha dastat. The suffering that we are now incurring, we are now feeling, we have given to somebody at some part of the time. Maybe in this lifetime or previous lifetime. Therefore, now what we are undergoing, we have given it to somebody previously. Therefore, do not think bad about them. Do not think bad about your stepmother or even about your father. So what happens this, now the second level of any challenge, any difficulty, any adversity that we are undergoing, the person who has brought it to us, we call them the immediate instrument. The person who has brought it to us, someone has sued us, someone hit us from behind, whatever may have happened, that person is not fully responsible. I am also responsible. Because what has happened to me, probably I have done that to someone else before. Therefore, this has happened to me now. Therefore, let me not think bad about the person who has brought the result of my own doing at this point of time. This is called a remote cause. So we first saw there is the immediate cause of any difficulty, immediate cause. The remote cause is our own karma. Therefore the saying goes, look before you leap, don't just do it. For as you sow, so shall you reap. We are responsible. To explain this, how intricate this mechanism is, or how intricate the karma algorithm is, I give you another example from the scriptures. Dhritarashtra lost 100 sons and his heart was agonized. He went to Vyasadeva. He said, I am in too much of pain. Why did this happen to me? Why all my 100 sons have been killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra? For what reason I have to undergo this pain? Vyasadeva sat in meditation. He is Trikalagya. Trikalagya means who can see the past, present and the future. He sat in meditation and said, 50 lifetimes back, you were a hunter. You wanted to hunt some birds, you went in the forest, and you shot an arrow, and somehow it missed the target, and all the birds on the particular tree, you wanted to shoot them down, they all flew. And then you saw there is no bird nearby for me to shoot. In anger, you lit fire to the tree. And there were 100 eggs of these birds on this tree. They were living on this tree. There were 100 eggs. Those 100 unborn baby birds, they were killed by you 50 lifetimes back. So therefore now, your 100 sons, you have lost 100 sons as a result of that particular act, 50 lifetimes. 50 lifetimes! Why it took so much time? Which court of justice give punishment after 50 lifetimes? Vyasadeva said, you had to earn the piety to get 100 sons. That took 50 lifetimes. You didn't have the piety to have 100 children. Of course, even to have children, there is some piety required. So, that's how intricate the karma algorithm is. And this is one act, can you imagine? Every act brings a fruit at certain point of time. Every act of ours. That's how intricate is karma algorithm. Therefore, Prabhupada once, someone spoke harshly to the devotees and they wanted to retaliate. Prabhupada said, don't retaliate. Probably we have spoken harshly to them. So therefore, we need to learn to also take the responsibility to whatever happens to us, irrespective of external causes. Although we have to deal externally, we may have to sue somebody, for whatever but also take the responsibility that I am also responsible for this. Nothing wrong can happen unless I have done something wrong to others. These laws are there, and they are very intricate but work very precisely, and there are no exceptions. There are no exceptions. So this is the remote cause of all difficulties, all adversities. So what happens if we can internally accept that I am also responsible? What happens is it removes the negativity, because we are always holding a grudge towards someone who has brought that to us. We always hold grudge. If we can accept that we are also the cause, then it will put us, as Suniti said, do not think bad about others. Internal acceptance equips us much better to deal with any situation externally. The main difficulty is actually dealing with any situation internally. When we then internally accept that yes, actually I am also responsible, then we are much better equipped to deal with any challenge externally. Remember, the main difficulty is acceptance, that I am also responsible. It's quite difficult. But Bhagavatam says this is a fact. Bhagavatam has many stories to this effect, that all the great devotees, when they would face challenges, they would also see that I am also responsible for it. I'm also responsible. Many examples. That's the remote cause. The third level, which changes the whole scenario altogether. Now we have to deal with the situation at the first level, immediate level. Second, we hold ourselves responsible, and internal acceptance will help us deal better with external situations, and we are not in a negative frame of mind, holding grudges against others. The third level is the ultimate. The first immediate level, then the remote level, the remote cause of the adversities. The third is the ultimate cause, the ultimate level. The third level of any difficulty, any challenges. When we take up to Krishna consciousness, when we have the faith that Krishna is the Supreme Lord and He is the ultimate controller. Krishna is the ultimate controller. Then when the faith comes, that's called Shraddha, it's the beginning of devotional service. Even when we have the Shraddha that yes, Krishna is the Supreme Lord and He is the ultimate controller, He is the ultimate proprietor, He is the ultimate well-wisher. When we get that faith, then Krishna, there is an intervention of Krishna in every situation that comes in our life. He is the ultimate cause. And we have to see His hand in every situation that comes to us. His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj, he contracted melanoma cancer. Externally, he was taking all the medicines diligently, time to time. He would say, give me, even if there would be a delay of few minutes, he would chastise. Sometimes the nurse, sometimes person said, why are you delaying? When this is the time to take the medicine, I have to take the medicine on time. Another level, he would say, I want to offer all my love to the cancer. I want to offer all my love to the cancer, for it has been sent by Krishna. It was sent by my loving Lord Krishna, who makes no mistakes. He is a well-wisher of his devotees. He makes no mistakes. He would see that Krishna's hand is there. Although, you see, on immediate level, he is doing all the medication. Also understanding that what has come to me is my own karma. But in the life of devotees, that karma valve is controlled by the Lord. His hand is there. And the Lord is, if we have the faith that I am chanting the Lord's name, Krishna's name, I have faith that He is my Lord He is most merciful, He is a well-wisher. Then there is His hand. His hand is there in every situation in my life. It said, if we leave things in Krishna's hand, then we can see Krishna's hands in everything. To the degree we leave things in Krishna's hand, to that degree we can see His hand in everything. So we have to, Bhagavatam teaches us, we have to learn to see Krishna's hands in everything that comes to us. And if we can see that, we will become joyful. As Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj said, I want to offer all my love to Krishna, to this cancer that has been sent by my Lord. That means this cancer is my friend. Parikshit Maharaj saw that. He was cursed to die in 7 days, 7 nights. He said, yes, this curse has been sent by the Lord to detach me from everything and take me back to His lotus feet. Parikshit Maharaj saw that. So, when we can see Krishna's hand and we have that faith, Lord Shiva says in Padma Puran, Mahavipatto samsare, this samsara, this world is filled with difficulties, challenges, adversities. But when one sees Krishna's hand, takes shelter of the Lord, vipatti tasya sampatti, the vipatti becomes sampatti. The obstacles become opportunities. The nature totally turns. I remember one Ayurvedic doctor, I had contracted a fever. There was a mucus in the lungs, and the mucus got infected. The mucus is not removed for quite some time, it becomes infectious. So I got lung infection, the mucus, and then I developed fever, 101 fever. And I called the Ayurvedic doctor whom I referred to. I said, can I take a kerosene? He said, why? I said, because I have fever. He said, fever is your friend. I was shocked. He spoke to me on the phone. He said, fever is your friend. Why you want to turn away your friend? I said, how is the fever my friend? He said, you have excessive mucus. This fever is going to melt the mucus. So you take medicine to remove the mucus, and the fever is also doing the same thing. It's removing mucus. Just tolerate for 1 day or 2. You feel much better. Don't take paracetamol. I'm not proposing that you don't do it. But this is Ayurvedic perspective, and it did not take. This is my personal choice. I said, okay, I'll tolerate the fever for a day or 2. And he gave me some medicines to remove the mucus. And his fever is also working in the same direction. So therefore, Krishna, whatever Krishna sends to us, or whatever difficulties are coming, we see hand of Krishna. They are taking us to a progressive life. After we go through that struggle, we will grow through that struggle. It has been sent by Krishna. If we can see Krishna's hand and have the faith and go ahead with that faith is the most tangible reality. You'll be able to perceive yourselves. Many examples in Bhagavatam again. Let me give one example from Srimad Bhagavatam. How the greatest adversity turned into greatest opportunity by seeing that this is sent by the Lord. Therefore, what does Krishna wants to teach me? Or which direction does He want me to take at this point of time? Since it has been sent by Him, how should I respond to it? If we really pray, contemplate, and under guidance respond properly, the nature of adversity will become greatest opportunity in life. Vidura, he lifelong served Dhritarashtra. He was a genuine well-wisher. And he was giving him advice. He said, look, the son is called Putra. In Hindi, Sanskrit, Putra. Means the son will, when the father leaves the body, the son performs Shraddha ceremony. Offers, pindas in Shraddha, the food and the pinda are offered to Lord Vishnu, and the prasadam is distributed. Vishnu prasadam is distributed. So there is a process by which when this pindadan is done to Lord Vishnu, and that is offered to the forefathers, they receive Vishnu prasad, and they, if they are in some kind of difficulty, they are delivered, and their journey is also progressive. Because the life continues, life doesn't end with the end of the body. Son means one who delivers the father by offering Shraddha ceremony to Vishnu. Your son has picked up enmity with Vishnu. Where will he deliver you? You are going to the darkest hell. Therefore, whom you are considering your son is your greatest enemy. Please, please get away with him. Please turn him away. He is not a son. It's sad, sometimes previous life enemy comes as one son. Described in the scriptures. So there are three kinds of sons the scripture describes. In the context I am just explaining. Says one is Shatru Putra. Literally, the enemy of previous life comes as a son and gives tough time, the hardest time to the parents. It's called Shatru Putra. Sometimes the debtor, the person whom you owe money, the person you owe money to somebody and you haven't returned, that person may also come as a son and squander all your money. It is called Rinanubandhi. So Shatru may come as one's son or a child in general, or the person whom you have lended or you have taken the money from, that person may also come as a son called Rinanubandhi. The third son is Sevaputra, means one who actually serves the parents and delivers the parent. So Vidura says, look, your son is surely your enemy from previous life. Like the scripture describes, do away with your son, and that's for your benefit. But somehow the Dhritarashtra is too attached, and this news reaches Duryodhana. And Duryodhana speaks so harshly to his uncle. He said, you are an enemy, you are like a snake. We have been feeding you, but when you feed milk to the snake, the poison increases. Your poison has increased and you want to bite us who have been feeding milk to you. He says, you just leave from here, or he wanted to beat him and just throws him with great insulting words, throws him out of the palace. Just leaving him with his life air. And that was a great favor Duryodhana said, I am doing. Otherwise, I would beat you to death. So Duryodhana spoke very sharp words. It said that the sword or the bullet hit once, but the sharp word hit again. The sharp words are actually sharper than any sharp sword. So it was very painful for Vidura. He is a Mahatma Vidura. Bhagavatam describes him Mahatma Vidura. What makes him Mahatma? He doesn't find fault with Duryodhana. Can you imagine? A person who just insults him badly, throws him out of the palace, who spoke such harsh words. He doesn't find fault with Duryodhana. He sees he is actually acting under external energy of the Lord. And I have been involved in palace, politics, diplomacy and so on. So I deserve it. But not just there. He sees for a long desire, for a long term, or for a long time, I did not get the opportunity for spiritual progress. I had a desire to go to all the holy places and make spiritual progress, to associate with holy people, to hear from them. Immediately Vidura sees Krishna, I would not have been able to leave the palace because he felt himself responsible to his brother. a responsible minister. But now my brother, when Duryodhana spoke and says, leave the palace at once, Dhritarashtra didn't speak anything. That means Dhritarashtra also kind of punishing him. Now he has only relieved me. Internally thanking, can you imagine? Internally Vidura thanked Duryodhana to relieve him from this whole palace politics, diplomacy, and freeing him now to be able to fulfill his innermost desire to go to the holy places, meet holy people, and make spiritual progress. So he sees Krishna's hands, and 2 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam are dedicated to Vidura's pilgrimage and his hearing from the great sage Maitreya. 2 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. He took shelter of Krishna in that situation, saw Lord's hand, and the whole most difficult situation for him. Just imagine a lifetime of service, and you're suddenly thrown out. What's the provident fund? What's the pension? Just life here. Right? That's all the retirement benefits he got. He got his life here. Duryodhana was very merciful. He did not take away his life from his perspective. So that was what he got after a lifelong of dedication, being a truthful, loyal minister of Dhritarashtra. That was a reward of lifelong of service. Externally, Vidura's career ended with total failure. Abruptly it's ended, and it's with a total failure as far as career is concerned. But he saw Krishna's hand. And that seeing that this is, the Lord is acting in my life and giving me an opportunity for spiritual progress, for spiritual absorption. And thus Vidura, when he saw that, all the pain of the heart disappeared and he became joyful once again, very enthusiastic, and then left on a pilgrimage and nourished himself with Krishna Katha, with the talks of Krishna, and heard from Maitreya Rishi. And then he attained such spiritual joy, such spiritual advancement Vidura made through his journey, which began with a great adversity. That became a great opportunity. So therefore, the 3 causes, the immediate cause, whatever happens to us, we need to deal with it. But don't put the responsibility, the whole responsibility on others who may have become the instrument. Take responsibility. We have to take responsibility on ourselves, knowing that my karma is coming back to me. Let me not blame others. Let me take the responsibility also and deal with the situation with a more positive frame of mind. And the most positive frame of mind is, this is also sent by my merciful Lord. And then it becomes the greatest opportunity. The vipatti becomes sampatti. The obstacle becomes a great opportunity. Hare Krishna. So I want to share this with you from Srimad Bhagavatam. And I would like to request His Grace Radha Gopinath Prabhu to share his wisdom on this topic or any related topic. And then if you have any questions, we can discuss. Thank you all. Hare Krishna.
ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। what can I say after all the three causes are known? I'll tell you at least one thing what you shouldn't do with this knowledge. The second one is how to accept it. Please do not recommend it or tell this to a person who is suffering. Imagine somebody makes an accident and you go to the hospital with a bouquet and then you say, I will explain to you the second cause. Actually, in your previous life, you must have dashed against at least 4 or 5 people. And therefore you have got 4.5 scratches or fractures. It would be the ultimate violence. So the dealing and acceptance is for oneself. That's wonderful for one's own self, but it will be the ultimate, harsh and hard-heartedness to actually speak it to someone who is undergoing suffering. You have to deal with it by being a part of it, by the solution. If you're not a part of the solution, then you become a part of the problem by default. So as he was speaking about Bhagavatam, I was remembering something from Ramayana. Actually, these two scriptures, or these two personalities, Rama and Krishna, have provided the two eyes for practically the whole of Indian subcontinent, which has so many languages, so many different cultures, food habits, dress habits. They're totally different. Each state is a country on its own from one perspective, And sometimes I used to wonder, what is keeping them together? Really, what's keeping that whole subcontinent together are these two scriptures, Ramayana and Mahabharata or Bhagavad. From the northernmost tip to the southernmost tip, from the easternmost tip of Dwarka or to Jagannath Puri, you find beautiful temples of Krishna, Radha Krishna, or Sitaram, Lakshmi Narayan. So what's united are the values or the culture and a way of living, a lifestyle that has been promoted, as there is a saying, Bhai ho to Bharat jaisa. So speaking about this, a thing about how to see situation in life, how to deal with it externally and how to accept it internally. Actually, it's an amazing concept if you think about it. I will share a wonderful incident from Ramayana. You all know how these 4 brothers, Ram, Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrugna. And then Kaikeyi, the mother of Bharat, who loves Ram more than her own son Bharat. She loves him more than anyone else. But just by the short association, the kind of poisonous association of Manthara, who has deep insecurity about herself, her position as a maidservant of the, again, main queen, the queen who gets the max attention. She's threatened If Ram becomes the king, then Kaushalya becomes the Rajmata. Then Kaikeyi is not going to be of most prominence, and that means I am not the maidservant of the queen. That's the remote connection. And she starts poisoning the mind of Kaikeyi, and Kaikeyi calls Ram in the middle of the night, practically, early in the morning, just before the coronation is about to happen the next day. So Ram comes with his golden chariot with the umbrella on top, which is like the royal insignia, and he gets down and walks, and he's shocked to see that it is in the Kop Bhavan, the anger chamber. Interesting, they had a lot of facilities. If you are in that chamber, that means everyone should know that this person is angry. Therefore, he is in that specific chamber. And he walks in and he sees his father, head on his hands and completely morose. He just cannot look at his son. And Ram is surprised. He must be the happiest person. He wanted me to be the king. He was the one who proposed it. What's wrong with him? And he is not able to look, what to speak of talking to him. And he says, you called me father. Do you want me to anything I can do? And Kaikeyi is standing like this, and she says, well, he's shy to speak, and therefore I should declare, I should tell you. We just had a conversation, and I just reminded him that he owes me two, he has promised me 2 boons, and I just told him that Bharat becomes the king. Now imagine, by any one of you, it's very difficult to imagine because today there are no kings. It's very easy to, I would have also renounced. It's like a beggar. Imagine renouncing $2 billion. Yeah, I would easily do it. Because he doesn't even understand what it means to possess. But imagine something which is dear to you. And you almost got it. You strived for it throughout your life, you almost got it. And 2 hours before you are said, sorry, wrong number, someone else is going to. At least you will say, what did you say, Mom? Did I hear it right? Something. You know what was Ram's response to that? He said, oh, anything else? That's it. No expression. Oh, anything else? And he said, and by the way, you just have to go to the forest, deep, dark jungles for 14 years. Ram says, anything else? And now she is shocked. She said, no, this is all. Now, one devotee was explaining, how could Ram be in this position and not be absolutely affected by such a biggest mishap in his life? And the point he made was very appealing to my heart, at least. He said, Ram simply wanted to serve his father Dasharath. He loved him. To love means to serve. In the conception of bhakti, love is not a noun. Love is a verb. To love means to serve with a desire to please. So Ram's concern was, how can I serve my dear father and please him? If it pleases him to be on the throne, I'll sit on the throne. If it pleases him for me to go to the forest, I'll go to the forest. I am neither attached to the throne nor to the forest. I am attached to serving my father and pleasing him. Only a person of that focus could actually be undisturbed in any of these apparently extreme dualities of life. Anyway, then he comes out and he tells, he just walks, and as soon as Lakshman is there, Lakshman follows somehow. Ram is always followed by Lakshman, and Bharat is always followed by Shatrughna. Almost like made for each other. So Lakshman immediately prepares the chariot and says, "Yes, my dear brother." Ram removes even the royal sandal that he is wearing. He just removes it. He's already prepared in his mind. He refuses the chariot and starts walking towards Kaushalya's palace to inform his mother, because he has to go that particular day, not even the next day. That was the proposal of Kaikeyi. So the reason why I'm telling you this particular incident is Lakshman is confused and bewildered. What's happening? He's supposed to be the king, and he refuses this. He came in this chariot and now he's walking barefoot, and then he goes straight, and Lakshman follows. And there, Mother Kausalya is preparing everything and offering wonderful worship to Lord Narayan and her, blessings for her son. And all of a sudden, Ram walks in and just very casually tells his mother, said, "Mother, this is what has happened, and I'll be just gone for 14 years, and the time will flow like this, and I'll be back." Kausalya faints instantly. Somehow Ram wakes her up, revives her from that unconscious state. Lakshman is watching all this. And Lakshman is like a snake, a poisonous snake who has been, kicked on the head by a foot of someone. Is like breathing out, so angry. Anyone who stops my dear brother from getting, the coronation tomorrow, I will destroy the whole universe. Oh, that's his mood. Lakshman is, such a personality. Ram just points to him, relax. And then he tells Kausalya, "Mother, as Damodar Prabhu expressed in Melbourne, please understand, Mother, it is our karma." Didn't you hear Damodar Prabhu? This is how we should accept. And he starts actually telling her, accept Daiva. Daiva means the providence, the will of the Lord, will of providence. So there are two aspects. There is Daiva. Daiva means whatever is destined. Destiny. Yeah, that's the right word. Destiny. And Ram speaks that accept it as my destiny. And I will be going and I'll be coming back. Lakshman said, he's so angry. He said, "That old man," referring to his father, "that lusty old man has lost his sense. Today I will see who can stop you from being coronated. I'll destroy the whole of Ayodhya." And then he starts speaking about the second part, that is Purushartha. Purushartha means one's endeavor, and Daiva means destiny. This has been a question since time immemorial. And today at the end of this session, if you don't have questions, I will be shocked and surprised. I am ready, therefore I'll try to finish early so that we can have a lot of question answers, because I am not here all of a sudden. This combination of me becoming a monk, is partly destiny and partly my efforts. And a lot of bewilderment and confusion is the end product. So, Ram speaks about destiny. How should you accept as destiny? He said, one should accept as destiny when, number one, a person who never generally behaves in a particular way starts behaving in a very funny way or differently, completely. Dasharath, who is such a sober person, suddenly decided that tomorrow morning I want to enthrone Ram. He didn't even consult. He later told, he already informed the decision. He asked him, instantly he wanted to do it. He wanted to do it very quickly. For some reason. As if some power was pulling him. Kaikeyi, who loves me more than her own son, she has become so hard-hearted. But Dasharath Maharaj said, you fool, I am going to die. Please understand. He begged at her feet. He chastised her. He all possible ways he tried to appeal to her. And she was hard like a stone, unmovable. How could in an instant a lady of that soft and every nature suddenly become like this? This is destiny. Sometimes it's seen, somebody who's supposed to take a flight, last moment some traffic jam and he misses the flight. And somebody feels, wow, I got the flight. And that flight, imagine, meets with an accident or some kind of a crash. And this fellow says, thank the traffic jam. And the other person says, of course, it doesn't live to say that. It's gone. We can see that again and again, right in our movement. His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, one of the most intimate disciples of Srila Prabhupada, he had a way, he would always follow everything as per Prabhupada. Prabhupada would always sit in a vehicle, he would always sit on the back seat, and that too, just if the driver sits on the right side, he sits on the left side, the opposite of the driver. Always. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj would do just that. But on that particular day, he just came from the Mayapur temple, and just nearby there is a small temple dedicated to Garudji, the carrier of Lord Vishnu. The car was parked next to Garudji's place. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj comes, and the disciples are telling, Maharaj, getting late, please come. We will miss the flight. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj says, it came from his mouth. Today, Garudji will carry me. And then he sat. He asked his disciple who was sitting in the front seat to come out, sit behind. Never has he done it. And he sat on the front seat, next to the driver. Never done it, ever. The disciples are shocked. And then the vehicle starts, and Shantipur, which is 1/3 way on the way to Calcutta, the driver, I don't know whether he slept or whatever, hit a tree on the left side. And the only person who left his body, who died, was Tamal Krishna Maharaj in just 5 minutes. And the others got some little scratches. And everyone was thinking, why did he even say this word? Garudji will carry me today. And sat in a place which he never does. So Ram is explaining, never happens. But if a person starts happening, you must know that this is, destined will of providence. And then Lakshman says, nonsense! Not to Ram, but to the philosophy. He can never say that to Ram. Ram is his worshipable Lord. He said, this is completely nonsense and bogus. He said, who speaks about destiny? Those who are irresponsible, those who are lazy. They don't do, and then they say, what to do, this is my destiny. Nonsense. You are the maker of your destiny. And he speaks a whole chapter on Purushartha. Purushartha means effort, one's own effort. He said, one can change one's destiny by one's effort, which is right. And then he speaks several logical and very, very even Shastric reasons about the importance of one's endeavor. Everything depends on your endeavor. Now the question arises, Prabhu, tell me one thing. You're speaking this also, you're speaking that also. What is the conclusion? Should I say this? Should I say this? Once, as Gopinath Prabhu was mentioning, I am overseeing one school that we are running. We had a debate competition for 7th and 8th standard students. 8th standard, I think, yeah. And the topic I had put on the board was hands that work are better than lips that pray. This was the title. Hands that work are better than lips that pray. And I asked the students, I said, okay, how many of you believe 4 hands that work are more important? Hands that work are more important than lips that pray. So many of the boys, most of the boys, some of the girls also, raised their hands. Yes, hands that work, hands that work. So they sat on one side. And lips that pray, yes. Many came and sat this side. Actually, hands that work were a little more than the lips that pray part. I said, all right, okay. And then the discussion began. And I said, all right, shoot your reasons. And then hands people said, no, work is worship. God helps those who help themselves. And so many, already powerful arguments, very logical arguments. And then I turned to the other way, voila, lips. Only praying or doing, speaking something? And they said, Prabhuji, nothing works. When hands doesn't work, then the lips starts praying, and then only things happen. And then a boy stood up and he said, Prabhuji, even to pray you need hands. And then another person from this side got up and said, Prabhuji, hands didn't work. That's the time Draupadi raised her hands. She threw her hands. Deen Bandhu, Dinanath, Meri Dori Tere Haath. Now I'm leaving it to you. And that's the time the miracle happened. This was told by a girl. Then a boy stood up from this side and he said, Prabhuji, abhi sachi bolo, I'm going to tell you the truth. If today some woman were to be disrobed, let us see, really the sari comes, unlimited sari? Tell me really. This is good for an argument. Today will the sari come? You here in Melbourne are so excited. You can imagine how the other team must have been excited. They were like, yeah! I went on. And I was also kind of So what do you say for that? Prabhuji, hands didn't work. That's why Gajendra lifted his, trunk. And that is the time when the Lord came and protected. So actually both of them had very powerful, very logical and substantial arguments. And it went on and on. It was like a 7 and 6 going on. And then suddenly I said, all right. Then I said, okay, this seems to be going on and our time is running out. So now you are not in the debate, you are not in any group. I said, all of you, one by one, place your hands on your heart and tell me, really, after hearing both the sides, tell me, what do you believe? Do you believe hands that work are more important than lips that pray? Or lips that pray are more important than hands that work? And suddenly there was gravity and silence. Everyone is and said, Prabhuji, 60-40. Somebody said, no, 30-70. Somebody said, no, 90-10. So it kind of went on, the discussion went on. And then finally they said, Prabhuji, enough of these discussions. You tell what is the truth. Which is more important, hands that work or lips that pray? And I said, should I tell you? I placed my hands on my chest, prayed to the Lord for inspiration, guidance, and I said, all right, here is the final declaration. I said, not even 90-10, not even 99-1, 100% hands that work is more important than lips that pray when you are working. And 100% lips that pray are more important than hands that work when you are praying. They said, Prabhuji, you can become a very good politician. You are too good at pacifying both the parties. But we want the truth. How can 100% be there? I don't believe. And while this was going on, I was thinking, really, if someone was being disrobed in the Parliament House, that was exactly what it was. It was the Parliament, in the Emperor's palace. And the Empress, the Queen, she was brought and she was being disrobed. And I was thinking, how do I answer this one? Really, if it happens, will Sari come? Constantly. But simultaneously, Krishna gave me some good intelligence. And I said, look, I will tell you. Why I believe that 100% hands that work are more important than lips that pray when you are actually working, which means dealing with the situation. While dealing with the situation, if you don't do it, no one will do it. Take 100% responsibility for dealing with the situation through your good intelligence, through your resources, through your best intentions. Deal with the situation, whatever it is. But 100% lips that pray are more important than hands that work, in sense of how to see it in a broader picture, how to understand it from a broader perspective, and accommodate this. And that gives us, as rightly pointed out by Damodar Prabhu, the internal strength to bear with it. If you are successful, pride doesn't enter your head. If you understand, I am not the doer, it's the blessing of the Lord. And if you are constantly, repeatedly failing, never will you go into depression, or to speak of suicidal tendency. Because you understand, I am becoming an instrument of the will of the Lord. And then I turned to that boy. I said, you spoke about Draupadi, right? 5,000 years ago this happened. Today, is it really practical? I am telling you of an incident, the real life incident, 30 years before, that's all. Just 30 years ago. An incident that represented exactly this phenomenon. And I said, look at the life of Srila Prabhupada. A 70-year-old man with 40 Indian rupees, INR, and that too in 1970s, just 40 rupees. Going to America with a big plan of starting, preaching to the whole world the message of Gita and Bhagavad. No support, no contacts, nothing. Just the strong will on the order of the Lord and the instruction of his Guru. That was his inner strength. I don't know what will happen. I will do 100% effort. And then, but what was his internal consciousness? I don't know why you have brought me, my Lord. I have no idea why I am coming here. But I know that there must be some reason that I am being, inspired to do this. Now I 100% surrender to your lotus feet. Make me dance, my Lord. Make me dance like a puppet. Nachao, nachao, Prabhu, nachao se mate. Kashtero putoli jaha, nachao se mate. Simply make me dance. I don't care. That's one of the reasons why for 1.5 decades, Prabhupada was struggling and struggling. He couldn't make even one person a devotee. But his enthusiasm never stopped. Because he was not concerned about the result. He was concerned about the effort. But in his core of his heart, he just believed, I am simply an instrument. Krishna, if you want me to fail, all right. If you want me to be successful and be on top of the world, that's your desire. Same Arjun. See the result. Arjun, literally speaking, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he was the man of the match or man of the series from a cricket perspective, I don't know how Melbourne, not much reaction. But if you speak in India, man of the match, cricket is the national game and every hair on the body stands on end. Whoever hits the sixer. And if somebody else hits the sixer, the TV goes out of the window. They're very emotional about it. Probably hear soccer or whatever. So, interesting. Arjun, Krishna says in the Gita, Tasmatva muttishta yasho labhasva jitva shatrun bhungsha rajyam samriddham mayaivaite nihata purvameva nimitta matra bhava sabyasachi. He actually says, Tasmatva muttishta, get up Arjun. What is this nonsense dropping this? Imagine, you are expecting man of the match, he is like the main performer. And while standing, suddenly he says, nahi, aaj mood nahi hai. And he throws the bag, removes all the pads and I'm going home, bye-bye. What nonsense, what are you talking? So, Tasmatva muttishta, get up Arjun and yasho labhasva, win all the fame and glory. Tasmatva muttishta yasho jitva shatrun, conquer over your enemy, bhungsha rajyam samriddham, and enjoy the kingdom or the emperorship of the whole planet Earth, unrivaled emperorship. Why? Mayaivaite nihata purvameva. I have already killed everyone except you 5 others or few countable on the fingers. No one from this battlefield will go back to their homes. You're already victorious. Nimitta matra bhava. You simply become an instrument. That's all. Sabyasachi. The original match fixing was done by the Supreme Lord 5,000 years ago on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Even before the first arrow was shot, match was fixed. 18 days later, who will go back with a trophy and who will be flagged? Everything was declared. But the amazing thing, Arjun did that. But somewhere in the heart, Arjun had this feeling that probably I think I really did it. And the same Arjun, when he went to Dwarka and after 7 months, when he was returning back, after Krishna departed, performed and wound up his pastimes, and Arjun was taking the some of the queens of Krishna towards Vrindavan or Hastinapur. Suddenly these aboriginal tribesmen, who were like nothing compared to Arjun's craftsmanship, with powerful weapons, the same Gandiva, the same chariot, the same Arjun, but then he just couldn't protect those people. Arjun could have gone into depression. Here was the highest performer in the peak performance in his season, but right now absolutely not able to do anything. He could have gone into depression, but he remembered the words of the Lord and he was completely, aligned with the will of the Lord. This is to show success, there is no pride, and in failure, there is no depression, or there is no, despondency. Why? Because you understand, I simply am becoming an instrument of the will of the Lord. Let me become an instrument of His will. Thy will be done, as Jesus says. Let that happen. Let me become a part and parcel of that. So, yes, coming back, both are important, but it is a question of when and in what way should we kind of accept this. One is on one's own platform, taking responsibility on one's own self in terms of internal acceptance. And higher than that is to understand the will of the Lord and play one's role fully, while externally leaving no stones unturned, so to say, in trying to do, or in other words, work as if everything depends on you. If you don't do it, it will never happen. And pray as if everything depends on the Lord. If this balance is struck in terms of our external dynamic activity and internal complete submissive acceptance of the will of the Lord, such a person can be blissful, can be dynamic, enthusiastic under all circumstances, irrespective of repeated failures. And even if his world, successful throughout the world, nothing makes a difference in terms of his consciousness or in terms of becoming proud. Because he simply understands, credit to the Lord. And if it's a failure, well, there is something for me to learn and continue on. Now, this is such an amazing lesson that is taught by the scriptures to give enthusiasm on one hand and patience on the other side, because of the faith within. Utsaha and Dhairya, in between is Nishchaya. You have full faith. Not a blade of grass can move without His sanction. But I will do my will and allow His will to manifest through me. So this would be the perfect kind of balance. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Now I don't know what our destiny is. It all depends upon your efforts. So, Gopinath Prabhu. What am I supposed to do? If you have very tough questions, you can ask Damodar Prabhu. He is an IIT person. I am a simple fellow. I am only good at talking. He is good at answering.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for this lecture. Prabhu, I wanted to ask you, Ramji was the incarnation of Lord Narayan. So why do he has to go through all that phase, and didn't he knew about all those things that was coming across in his life?
Thank you for this very relevant question. I hope everyone heard that question. So I think you were keeping a little distance. So yeah.
So my question was that since Ramji was the incarnation of Lord Narayan, and why he went through all of those things, like hard times and struggles, and like being an avatar, didn't he know about all those things coming to him before all those things, and how he reacted?
Yeah. So it's very interesting. The Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita, the purpose of his descent, which thanks to the Mahabharata serial, everyone has memorized all over India. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya sudushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. In every yuga, he comes to establish three things. He established what is the right thing to do, dharma samsthapanarthaya, and then he tells what should not be done. I will share with you one thing, a little story that will answer this question. One day, a king asked the minister, "Minister, yes sir, yes your majesty, please tell me what is God's daily activity." He started scratching his head. Bhagwan ka mere ko kya malum? You ask the royal Purohit, you ask him. So the royal Purohit said, Your Majesty, I need 1 week's time. Okay? You have to tell me next Monday, this was Monday morning, next Monday you have to tell me what is God's daily activity in this world. So the fellow was scratching his head all, and eventually became like me. And he had no answer. He said, "मैं पूरा ढूंढ लिया, scripture में कहीं नहीं मिल रहा है, nothing I'm finding. Today is Sunday night." So night, lock, stock, barrel, he packed up everything, put it on a horse carriage, and started going away outside the kingdom. And as he was going, he met a cowherd boy, a small boy, 7-year-old boy. Early morning, he said, "Oh, Panditji, where are you going?" Shut up. Early morning, see, I'm about to die, and you're talking like, what's the matter? Tell me. And the king is a foolish person. He tells me what is God's daily activity. How am I to know? And the boy said, "Hey, I know." "What? Do you know?" "Yeah, I know." "Tell me." "I will not tell you. Take me to the king. I will tell him." "Are you sure? Otherwise it will cost us both of our head." Said, No, you take me. "Sure?" 100% sure. Chal. Took the carriage, went back, and right at 10 o'clock, Darbar opens, and here walks the royal Purohit with this small child behind. And the king said, "All right, Panditji, you have the answer?" And the Panditji said, "My lord, such a simple question. It's an insult to ask a royal person like me. Even an insignificant cowherd boy of your kingdom can answer." "Answer, beta." And he's praying. Lips that pray are more important. But his hands will work. So the king says, "Oh, This boy will answer, yes. And he's sitting on, there are 18 steps. And on top of that step that king is sitting, and the boy comes and stands right there. And he looks up the king and he says, "All right, O king, what's your question?" And the royal Purohit says, "Hey, does he understand? What is his position?" He said, the king says, "My question is," and the boy says, "Hey, wait, this is not the way to ask question. One should very humbly ask question." The king is eager to get the answers. So he said, "All right, my question is," "Yes, what's your question?" "My question is, what is God's daily activity in this world? Do you want the answer? Mm-hmm. Come down. And I will go and sit up there and answer you." The Raj Purohit's heart is beating. I hope this guy knows. And the boy is very serious. He says, "You come down and stand here, I'll go and sit and I will answer your question." Somehow the king's eagerness to understand the question was so intense that he steps down, all the way down, and he stands there, and this boy goes up and he says, "Yes, what's your question?" And the king says, "My question is, what is God's daily activity in this world?" And the boy says, "This is God's daily activity." He said, "I don't understand." "This is God's daily activity." "Can you please explain?" He pulls down the arrogant and hard-hearted and those who break the laws, and innocent, simple, law-abiding people he puts on top. This is God's daily activity. He pulled down Hiranyakashipu, the most arrogant universal terrorist, and he puts his own son Prahlad, the loving, devotional, law-abiding son of his, on top. He pulled down the arrogant Ravan and put up his own brother Vibhishan on top, and thus demonstrated to the whole world for all time to come, again and again, what is dharma. How the path of righteousness, as they say, satyameva jayate, the truth prevails at the end. So this is what the Lord actually wants to establish, sometimes through his devotees and sometimes personally. He acts as if he's an ordinary person. Almost. The amazing part is people actually believe he is ordinary. Can you imagine lifting Govardhan hill on the top of his little finger, the weakest part of the body? You know, in India, if you want to insult someone, "Tu mere baएं हाथ की छोटी उंगली का खेल." Literally, Krishna didn't say it. His action proved louder than his words. This is what all the power of Indra, and he's telling, that's all. So, but still people, how do they not believe? Avajananti maam mudha manushim tanumashritam param bhavam ajananto. That's because they are covered by the illusory energy of the Lord. Pashyannapi na pashya. They see, but they can't see. Because of their false ego. Krishna. One fellow wrote, actually he did not leave the hill. He put them in a cave and put one boulder and held it like this. Somehow trying to minimize the position, the inconceivable power of the Lord to their level. And that's why Swami Prabhupada said, ignorance means two things. To make Krishna or God an ordinary person, and make an ordinary person as God just because he does some cheap tricks. This is a sign of ignorance. Either you bring down God to your level or put yourself in the level of God. This is a sign of ignorance of the Lord and his energies. So before understanding any of the activities of the Lord, you have to hear his message from his followers who can actually see him for what he is. You know, avajananti maam mudha. They minimize the activities of the Lord. So yes, Lord Ram, he proved to Vali when he wanted to. Sugriva didn't have faith because he was beaten up so much by Vali. He said, I can't trust you, show me your power. He said, what can I show? He said, he killed Dundubi and this is the mountain of his bones. Huge mountain. And he threw him, you show. And Ram kicked it and it went miles away. Oh? And he said, still there is a doubt because of the beating he had got. Okay, the 7 tall trees was there and he pierced and it went in the ground and came back. Then he said, alright, now I trust you. It took Ram so much effort to prove that I can kill this Vali. So the point is, yes, it is a little, if we try to see through Charma Chakshu, there are 3 ways of seeing. One is Charma Chakshu, which means our own eyes. Then there is Jnana Chakshu or Shastra Chakshu. That is the eye of the scriptures. Just like we see through the eye of science. We can't see electrons, protons and neutrons. But we see through the eye that if this tube light is going on, that means electronic is working. Electricity is there. So we see through the eye of knowledge. Similarly, eye of scriptures. And by practicing the third eye, that is Prema Chakshu, one can see the Lord as you are seeing me and I am seeing you. That's very, very advanced and the culmination of achieving the perfection of life, true love of God. I hope that answers the question. Sorry for answering it in a very dramatic way.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
I am hearing like a voice from the sky. Hey, yeah, okay. Yeah. I thought some demigod. You insulted me.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, what I understood throughout the session, I would like to sum up in 4 lines of mine, what I am thinking towards, what I learned.
And it will be certified by Damodar Prabhu.
Yes, it will be. मनुष्य करता वही है जो वो चाहता है. मनुष्य करता वही है जो वो चाहता है, पर होता वही है जो प्रभु चाहता है. पर होता वही है जो प्रभु चाहता है. इसलिए तू कर वही जो प्रभु चाहता है. इसलिए तू कर वही जो प्रभु चाहता है. फिर उसके बाद होगा वही जो तू चाहता है.
इसी खुशी में थोड़ा तालियां हो जाए. वाह वाह, बड़ा सुंदर. So Prabhu has summarized our 1.5 hours talk in just 4 lines. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Firstly, to express gratitude that you are here and decided to give us such wonderful, share such wonderful knowledge. My question is regarding karma. Prabhuji mentioned one incident of an accident. So if, let's say, we are passing by and a car hits us, that could be our past karma that is coming back to us. But what is it from the perspective of the car driver? Is he right now creating a karma for his future to suffer, or is that something else that I'm missing out on?
Hare Krishna. Yeah, okay, so good question. For me, when I've been hit by somebody, maybe surely it's my karma. Other person's mistake. Now his mistake creating karma for him, or no karma because he just become an instrument. It could be either. But we will not be concerned about that. If that person could be utilized as an instrument for our karma. In that case, that person will not create. Or that person may have his own evil intentions to hurt somebody. In that case, that person will create karma. But irrespective of that person's, I said again, we do not want to. The same thing when Sunidhi, the mother, said, do not think bad of your stepmother because we are suffering what we have given to others. The question we asked, will Suruchi also suffer? Now she is giving pain to us. Right? The same rule, that if you give pain to others, you suffer. Will Suruchi also suffer? She is giving pain. She may or may not. She may or may not. We are not concerned about that. But we, for our side, we do not wish that they should suffer. And the devotee doesn't wish that they suffer. So it's between them and the Lord. We do not know. But we do not wish that devotee is again Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur would say that we wish nothing less than highest good fortune even for our worst enemies. Even when a person is acting as a worst enemy, accepted as my karma, but we don't wish that person suffer. We wish that person also actually become a devotee. What if that person has done to me is my karma? Let that person also, become a devotee and not suffer. So that way, that's the understanding.
It's like when a judge orders somebody to be hanged to death or given some reward, he's not entangled because he's a representative, bona fide representative of the government who is passing the judgment as per the laws. Or a police catches someone and gives him a bill which is like to pay something. That's not. But if suddenly I decide that my neighbor is doing this and he kind of does, and I slap him and I say this is your karma for breaking the law, then somebody else is going to give back to you. So we on our own should become the instrument of the Lord. That will be done. Anyway, that person is going to get. You don't have to become that. So, for that perspective, I think has to be understood.
There was a question right in the back.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. My question was on when you have a choice to make, how do you decide that this is a war that you're meant to fight, or let karma decide it for themselves? Like, what's a good reference point, or just an understanding that you are the instrument to bring this change or to go for this war? Like Arjuna had Krishna telling like what he should be doing, whether he should be fighting, whether even if it's against his brother, that's something he's meant to do for his own dharma. But how does one, like a simple person like me, decide when you have a choice to make that let karma settle it later, or this is a fight that I have to take on?
We have to make a choice. There are 4 things you need to consider. Just like when you buy an instrument or a gadget from a shop, the manufacturer provides a manual. And the manual says, what is the purpose of this instrument? What should it be used for? How it should not be used? And when something goes wrong, whom to approach to set it right. Basically, that's what the manual is all about. Right? Similarly, to decide what should we think, what should we speak, what should we do, manasa, vacha, karmana. There are scriptures. Actually, these are the words of the Lord. The Creator, in the beginning of creation, sent forth the Word. And the Word are the scriptures. They are stood the test of time. They are like the manual. We have an instrument. The soul has been provided with an instrument. How to use this instrument? The scriptures say. So that is the first. It said there are 2 statements in the scriptures basically. Prescriptions, prohibitions. Vidhi and nishedha. Do's and don'ts. That's all. Basically, scriptures are about do's and don'ts at different levels. With different levels of elevation, there are different do's and don'ts. So that is the first thing, scriptures. Then, great souls of the past who have captured the essence of the scripture in their heart and they are acting accordingly. All the ancient sages of the past. And the current representative of that is the Guru. So, Shastra, Sadhu and Guru. They currently bring to us the essence of the scriptures and the do's and don'ts, both. There is a spirit of the law and there is a letter of the law. Sometimes you may follow the letter of the law, but you may break the spirit of the law. Therefore, you should also know the spirit of the law, so that if there is apparent contradiction between the letter of the law, should I do it? Or that's called Dham Sankat, what you're talking about. Damned if you do, damned if you do. Should I fight or not fight? That was Arjuna's dilemma. I see my own people, my worshipable seniors, whom I love, and they are standing on the opposite side, on the side of adharma. If I shoot them and kill them, I will be miserable for the rest of my life. I cannot excuse myself. I cannot, forgive myself. And if I don't fight and look at the way Draupadi has been insulted, my blood boils. I will be miserable for the rest of my life. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. What do I do? What am I supposed to do? That's the dilemma that not you, not me, everyone faces. Every moment. Right now I am facing a dilemma. Should I continue the answer a little longer? Or should I allow others also to ask the question? Or should I give it to Damodar Prabhu? Or should I speak? Am I becoming egoistic? All the things Damodar should speak. No, but he is looking at me and blessing me. I am in the Dharma Sankat right now. Moment to moment. So this decision happens moment to moment. So there are three. Shastra, Sadhu and Guru. Finally, your good intelligence. Refined intelligence. We need to study the scriptures and purify our existence by sadhana, so that our intelligence is not taking decision based on what I like or what I don't like, but rather what is right and what is wrong. Now, how do I decide what is right? There may be two things right. When one is a right or a wrong, very easy to decide. The problem is when both appears right, or there is a higher right, there is a lower right. Which one should I do? When I am attached to a decision, then something appears right which may not be exactly the truth. Therefore, we need the external checklist to confirm whether our thoughts, like somebody insulted me, there are one voice that means says, slap that rascal. And maybe he's a little weaker and you're really strong, and you can actually do it and get away with it. The other says, forgive. What Jesus said. If someone slaps you, show the other. To this rascal, show my others. Nothing doing. At least 3-4 times I will slap him. So there are so many voices and different levels of responses. Therefore you need this. Checklist. You confirm. It's like a filter. Goes through Shastra, goes through sadhus, past. The people who have practiced during this dilemma. What is a scripture? Like Bhagavatam, there is a law book and a law journal. Law book is the Gita, hardcore law, hardcore laws. And Bhagavatam speaks about incidents in the past. Like in a court also you have previous cases, how judgment was given. Mr. Vasudevan versus Tamil Nadu government. Mr. Vasudevan broke his law and the government decided to do this. So the law journals speak about the past incidents and how this law was in spirit. The law was applied and it was approved. So Gita is the law book and Bhagavatam is the law journal. By reading the law and its application in different circumstances by different people, you also understand the spirit of the law. And then you have a personal guide, a living guide, who tells you that in your situation, because times are changing, spirit remains the same, the times may change. So, in this situation, how you should apply it. And the last is, with a purified intelligence, without attachment to what I like or don't like, I decide what would be the best thing, what my conscience. But for that we need to purify our heart. And if inspired by that, you do it, and even if you face the result, accept it as the Lord's mercy to teach you something. And if it is right, good, that means I am on the right track. And if it's wrong and you get a little, oh, I should learn, next time I should be careful. So that way, these 4 checklists, Shastra, Sadhu, Guru, and purified intelligence, refined intelligence. And then go ahead. You will learn. You'll be a wiser person. Both ways. I hope that answers. Yeah. Thank you. Now the question will be answered by Damodar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. My question is, you were talking about Utsaha and Dharya. Whatever we are doing, we should put full efforts for that, hands at work. So how to understand that? I struggle if I am putting the full efforts or not. I have always this self-doubt that if I am putting the full efforts, what I am doing, it applies to material world and spiritual journey as well. That if I am putting my efforts for my work, for my family, for everything, and also even for spiritual world, like for my spiritual journey, if I am able to put full efforts, so I've struggled to understand that parameter.
Yeah. See, there are 2 enemies in deciding this. The first enemy is the false ego. The false ego affects the mind and convinces you something. I like this, therefore I think this must be right. I don't like it, therefore this must be wrong. Whatever, That's one thing you should be careful about. The false ego manifesting through the mind and creating this dvandva, duality. The second thing is laziness. I know what is right, but from tomorrow onwards, January 1st, New Year resolution. Not now. So, therefore, we need guidance also. Number 1, so that it's like reaffirming, it's like confirming from, my thought is this, and scriptures, I have concluded this, but, like bouncing off the idea with someone who's our well-wisher, whom we have faith, trust and confidence. Faith in that person's knowledge, trust in that person being a well-wisher, and confidence in that person's balanced and mature guidance. When that is there, then it is our effort. Then we should try to leave no stones unturned within the given time. See, there are several responsibilities we have. We have a responsibility to our body, we have a responsibility to our family, we have a responsibility to our job, whatever we have taken, we have a responsibility to our soul, we have a responsibility to our society where we live. Whatever, there are so many roles we are playing, and each role has a particular responsibility. Balancing within this given time how best I can put my energy in this particular responsibility. To the best of my ability, to the best as per my availability of resources, I have done my best. Then you just be relaxed. Don't worry. Accept as a learning. Whatever comes, accept it as a learning. we learn and we kind of move ahead. Does that answer your question? Yeah, you seem to be in a duality.
It's not duality. I think, as you said, that it's a learning. So I think I'll consider that I'm learning and getting better day by day.
Yeah.
And I think try to leave it. I think with God, the rest forever.
Simultaneously, your effort is what?
Yes.
Not just madly running around, but understanding through scriptures what is right from wrong. Asatoma sadgamaya, tabasoma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritangamaya. So the scriptures, intelligence has two functions: discrimination and determination. It is about the mind. The mind runs these dualities. So intelligence is manasastu para buddhi. Intelligence has two functions: discrimination, or what is right, what is wrong. After determining that, the second function of the mind, the intelligence, is determination to follow it through.
So how do you keep that determination? For example,
by reading the scriptures. Because in the scriptures, again, as we were discussing with that question, in the scriptures are given the lives of those great souls who went through the same challenges, who went through the same temptations, who went through the same obstacles, much more stronger than you can ever imagine, how they dealt with it. Practical application of these laws. So therefore you should very scrutinizingly study them. By study, two things happen. Our journey, the vehicle of our journey, doubt is like a brake and faith is like the accelerator. So to remove the doubts, you need to study the laws very carefully and become refined in your intelligence to discriminate.
So how do you consider that intentions help in this? I feel if I have the pure intention that I am trying to balance all those areas in my life and rest after putting all those efforts and rest, then you are accepting that that's God's will. Did you?
Yeah. I will answer, and then since he spoke about intention, I will pass the mic to him. I understand it like that. The intention meaning, in scriptural point of view, it's not about what will please me, what's the right thing, and what will please the Lord. That's the right intention. If my understanding, this will what will please the Lord, I don't care whether I like it or don't like it. It's beneficial to me or harmful to me, I don't care. But if this is what pleases the Lord, I will do it nevertheless.
That is love about.
True. So 4 types of motivations. First motivation to follow scripture is fear. Don't do it and you will suffer in hell. My mother used to say, if you don't give water to someone who asks for water, in next life you will become a lizard. And you will, while going through, your tail will be caught by the door. Somebody will close it and you will go without the tail. Every time somebody would come and ask for water, 8 minutes, Baba, sit down, I'll give you one jug of water. I don't want to become like that. Whatever. So fear is the beginning. Fear of death. Fear of disease. Don't do this, don't smoke this, otherwise you'll get cancer. So sometimes, and the lowest level of motivation is fear. Spare the rod and spoil the child, as they say. So in scriptures, for the lowest level of consciousness, the only thing is fear of hell, fear of suffering, fear of disease, fear of poverty. I will never do that. Let me be pious. I don't want to suffer in my next life. Higher than that, in the mode of passion, in the mode of ignorance, fear is the only thing. In the mode of passion, it's a sense of gain. You do this and you will get a very good health. If you do this, you will get name and fame. In your next life, you will have very comfortable situation. So that's the motivation. Gain. Higher than that is a sense of duty. Ask not what the country can do for you. Ask what you can do for the country. Oh, they will do their responsibility, the parent. What am I supposed to do for them? That's a sense of duty. And the highest of all is love, as you rightly pointed out. In love, fear, gain, and duty is already in its most purified state. Why? Because in love, your fear is not to displease the beloved. Your gain is the pleasure of the beloved. And the duty is, he's doing so much for me, can't I do this much that he's expecting from me? You know? So yes, love is the highest motivation. Even if you don't have love, at least duty. If not, there is a gain, Baba.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
I think I took a lot of time, sorry.
No, I took a lot of time in answering your question. Whatever is the question, Damodar Prabhu will answer. Okay, one last question. Damodar will decide who the questioner is and what his answer is.
My question especially. Okay, whoever
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
See, this is Dharma Sankat. You have to make the choice. You have to displease someone and please someone.
Hare Krishna.
But we will officially close the program. Outside, we may have those who want to ask questions. We'll have a chance to talk to them. Outside of the house.
In the temple, we can do that.
Huh?
In the temple.
In the temple, yeah. We can, if
Yeah,
we
yeah,
want to
sure.
further ask, we can just.
One official, after that full unofficial.
Thanks for an amazing session. I loved it. I just have a hypothetical questions like why Krishna in different yugas and like in different avatars only was present in the subcontinent of India, not in Australia, Europe, America. Why he take that avatar only that subcontinent? It's believed that it's come from like to remit the evilness. So there was no evil around here. It was just in the subcontinent. So just I'm a bit curious about that. Thank you.
I will ask a pure Indian to answer.
Hare Krishna. Well, the scriptures use the word Bharat Varsha. Bharat Varsha is actually, again, there is a different geographical understanding given in the scriptures. The scriptures refers to the whole earth as Bharat Khanda, not even Bharat Varsha. The Bharat Varsha land is 9 times bigger than this world, all the 7 continents combined together. That is Bharat Varsha. So this world itself is called part of Bharat Varsha. So there is a different geographical understanding also given in the scriptures. Basically what happens is, so this much bigger tract of land, the whole world was considered Bharat Varsha or even a greater tract of land. The Pandavas, Maharaj Parikshit was ruling a tract of land bigger than the present world we know, all the continents and the oceans. But what happened is, over a period of time, the culture which was prevalent, it kind of converged or reduced to a smaller and smaller tract of land. To give an example, if we go to the place where the palace of Nanda Maharaj is, they will tell you that it was in more than a 1 kilometer diameter. But not a very small place. It was a much bigger tract of land. So now, therefore, the place where that culture which was prevalent during that time since it has reduced that part of everything reduces in this age of Kali Yuga described. The lifespan, one's memory, one's patience. So the things reduces. Kali Yuga is the age where many values also reduce and so on. So the particular culture which was prevalent all over the earth is just now present in that specific tract of land. So that's how, I say it. Otherwise, the whole world is actually Bharatvarsha. That's what the Bhagavatam refers to it.
Fair enough, thanks.
Okay, Hare Krishna. For that.
Last question.
It's up to Gopa Prabhu to do.
You see how a sincere effort sometimes overcomes destiny.
Okay, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I'll keep it very short and simple. What I want to know is, you mentioned about Sunidhi Mata and the Queen initially. I want to know, how do you deal with envious people in your life? Sometimes we have it in our friends, in our family. So there's a difference between jealous and envious. But how would you deal with envious people in one's life? Thank you.
Yeah, see again, dealing at all three levels, I would say the comprehensive dealing would be dealing with all three levels. If someone is envious, I may have to protect myself first of all from that person harming us. I may have to involve somebody, escalate it, bring it out to someone's notice so that it's resolved on an external platform. But without hating that person, this requires a lot of spiritual maturity. That I do not want to hate that person, even the person who is envious of me. To give an example, there is a story of one South Indian Acharya, Parashar Bhatta. He was speaking, one person suddenly got up, he was very envious, started criticizing him. And he criticized him a lot. And Parashar Bhatta simply thanked him. He said, and he was in a temple, this was taken in a temple courtyard. He said, today I went before the Lord, and whenever we go before the Lord, we praise Him. After praising Him, we express that our fallen condition, and then express our desire to Him. This is like the sequence. He said, today I praised Him, but I forgot to express my fallen condition. You have actually helped me. You are my friend. So you have fulfilled that. So to that envious person also, he took it something very positive, without blaming him or anything. So that requires, but at least from external platform, without hating the person, we to deal with it at our level and try to overcome that. We do not develop, we are not envious of those who are even envious of us, though we may avoid them. But try to not have the negativity. And thirdly, Krishna is giving me an opportunity to rise above dualities, to practice higher principles. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur would say, if someone are coming and criticizing you, think that Krishna is sending them to you so that you can practice being tolerant, being humble, being non-envious of even those who are envious. So Krishna is now sending you a test to see where do you stand. See the Krishna's hand in that also. So in this way, and of course, we may not be able to do that immediately, but at least in retrospect we take a lesson and we act in a better way the next time. So we may fall short, of the ideals, but at least we know what is the ideal and we are moving towards that ideal gradually. That will be good. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So,
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. And also, there is an announcement that Prabhuji will be giving tomorrow Srimad Bhagavatam class, 7:30 in the morning in the temple. So those who are free, please come. So that will be another opportunity. Both will be speaking. Hare Krishna. That's wonderful.
okay, bye.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Okay, there is another important announcement. because we had to go out a bit quietly because there have been a lot of complaints from the neighbors regarding the noise level, because for them it's time to sleep. So that's why we had to stop early. So we had to go out quietly. So when you go out, you can start speaking after entering the temple. Till then, just take the prasadam and go. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.